Hello and welcome to Abracadabra, Create What You Speak. I'm iLan Azoulai. This is an empowerment program with guests from all over the world who will share their light and their gifts of art, knowledge and wisdom to inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Together, through the healing magic of sound and the power of words, we will look at everything from a spiritual lens. In research for cure and relief for pain, sleep, PTSD, autism, ADD, ADHD, dementia, anxiety, depression, and grief, my guest produced 11 international sound healing conferences and is also the founder of the Sound Healing Research Foundation. He founded a medical sound association with over 500 doctors and sound therapists to figure how to cure every disease in the world with sound, music, and vibration. He is a top-selling producer of sound healing music, and his music is played in many hospitals around the country, including Boston General and UC Medical Center. My guest is David Gibson. He is a leading scholar and researcher, the founder and director of the Globe Sound Healing Institute in the San Francisco Bay Area and online. David also written the #1 selling books in both the fields of audio recording, the art of producing, and the complete guide to sound healing. Let's welcome David Gibson. David, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining. This is such a blessing. How are you?
Great. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. As a sound therapist to another one, this is such a blessing to have you to share the light and to share the vibes. Yeah. I love that. So David, you've done so much and you're doing so much with sound and bringing the healing qualities of sound. And as I speak on my Friday videos, in Judaism is recognizing sound from beginning, from Mount Sinai. And they saw the voices. It really literally says there, they saw the voices. And that creates something, that creates an effect. So now we're talking about seeing the voices, meaning seeing the sound. But let's talk about sound. What, from your expert perspective, please tell us about what you do and how sound came to your life and what is sound and how that heals us.
Well, I started out as a professional recording engineer, and I worked with a lot of major bands. I worked with James Brown's band.
Oh, wow.
He gave me a hug, so I've been blessed by the Godfather of Soul. Right?
Enough said.
And at one point, I started seeing all of the magic coming across from certain musicians. Right? I would get chills. I'd get goosebumps. Sometimes the room would turn purple. Right? And I thought, how can we reproduce this at will?
Huh.
And so I was doing the recording classes for years, and then 20 years ago we added on the sound healing classes, and it's just expanded from there. It's really all about stable, consistent vibrations. Is the basis of all sound healing. It's really the basis of all health. We often have the chaotic vibrations like fear or anxiety, or even anger, or pain, or stress, right? Intention, as opposed to the stable vibrations of all of the vowels.
Fascinating. Yeah, even that.
When the body is healthy, every single part of the body is vibrating consistently like a vowel, right? And it's that tension that comes in, the little chaos that starts
the
causing
disturbance in the
problems.
force.
What's that?
The disturbance in the force.
Exactly. Some people talk about it going out of tune. That's like really bad. I mean, like a cancer cell has gone to another frequency. That's like really bad. It really is all about a little chaos first and just So any sound healing instrument,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the voice,
Mm-hmm.
is all about stable, consistent vibrations. From there, you can get really detailed as to the frequency of every cell, the frequency of every organ, the timbre or combination of frequencies of every part of the body. And you can even find the actual melody and rhythm going through each part of the body and each system. We can talk more about that later. So it gets really detailed after you just get stable. Right?
Wow, this is fascinating. And you're talking about listening to the music as the sound goes through. You're talking about one of your big things is really the home note, the soul note.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
and it's like I remember when I was a kid. Also, not when I was a kid, but when I would get sick, what would comfort me was it would comfort me. I
Stable.
would always hum.
Nice.
It's just comforting, comforting, comforting. This is, and we've discovered last time I was that my home note is B. Just yours is too, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, it's the best
fascinating.
note. It's definitely the best. Right. It's also the Schumann resonance. Yeah, the best frequency, and we hand out 10,000 frequencies in our classes. We have online classes. We have classes up here in San Francisco. But nobody agrees with anybody about what frequency is what for anything. So really the best one of all is yours. And what we're talking about is really an average of your metabolism, which is an average of your heart rate going up and down and
Hmm.
your brainwave rate, which is already stable.
So you're
And you're at
analyzing.
peace.
So you're analyzing to find your home note. You're analyzing the heart rate, the brain waves,
Uh-huh. That's
and
really what we're looking for, right?
so
Where
those.
you're at peace.
I see.
Right. And everybody's, the first thing you see when you see somebody is how scattered or stable they are, right? A little too much coffee, right? Or, right? Or a spiritual leader, really still, right? The second thing you see is how fast someone moves. And that's the metabolism, right? Some people are really cruising, and they can be scattered or stable when they're fast. And then if they've got a slow metabolism, they could be scattered or stable. In fact, we often confuse scattered with fast, right?
That's
So
right, because it's going. Yeah, that's right. We
it's
do
like,
confuse
oh,
that.
they're really fast. No, they're just scattered,
Scattered.
right? Right? So they could actually have a really slow metabolism and be scattered. So
It's
that's what
yeah.
we're looking at is how fast your metabolism is, where you're at peace.
Yes, yes, because you could be sad in sad mode or anger mode, whether you are fast or slow. It doesn't matter. So it's simply
Right.
the scatterness.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because some people say, well, sometimes I go to like really stress frequencies, but that's still the same key.
That's
You're
right.
still in the same. You've just gone to a different note in the key of you,
That's
right?
right. That's
You've
right.
gone to like a dissonant note, right? Because
Yeah.
if I came and started saying, "Well, hi, how are you doing today?" You'd be going, "What's wrong with you
Yeah.
today, Dave?" Right?
Many times, I would have the sense that people are putting on a show,
Yeah,
and I would
yeah.
have the feeling people are putting on the show. Oh, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
But they're not really
interesting.
like that.
Right. It's interesting. When we are really sincere, we go to the home note
That's
of the
right.
key
That's
of our
right.
voice, right? Now, the key of the voice, now we're just talking about the key of your metabolism, which I think of as your soul frequency, right? Because I figure your soul frequency, everything's a frequency, so your soul frequency must be where you're at peace in your body, unless God is messing with this, right? But your voice note is
Yeah.
different normally. And what we're talking about is the key that you sing in when you speak, right?
That's right.
Everybody sings when they speak. Some people sing really interesting songs. Some people sing songs that aren't so interesting, but they're still singing, right? What's interesting is when we sing, when we speak, we express love, we go to the home note of the key of our
That's
voice,
right.
like this. I really love my kitty. I love my kitty. right? I wouldn't
I
say
love my kitty.
right. Sometimes we go to the musical fifth. I love my kitty, right? But we don't go to other intervals. We don't go to, oh, I love my kitty. I love my kitty.
Yeah, we don't go to a triton. I love my kitty.
Right. I love my kitty. Right? No, it's I love my kitty. And also when people are sincere, and so you can hear that, and tell what's going on.
That's right.
We sense that really easily. But the other thing that's huge, even more important in your voice, is the songs that you sing. And some people, let me put it this way. We are really sensitive to critical songs. You know what I mean? Don't you know what I mean? Versus, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
You know what I mean.
For example, like when somebody also doesn't mean to apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right. You can
really
hear it in their song.
Yeah,
It's like, but it's like a sincere apology. It's like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry.
That's fascinating. This past week I was speaking exactly about that. Every week I give a talk about the Torah portion of the week. And I was talking exactly about how the power that we have in our voice, but not only our voice, the intention behind the words. So the intention is the soul of the word.
Right.
And I was talking also about the genius from Vilna. He was a rabbi in the 18th century. He wrote many Kabbalah and books and Judaic books. Saying the music is the soul. The music is our soul. Is the note of our soul. The music, to understand the Torah, you need to understand music.
Yeah.
And
it's
this
really
is fascinating.
Interesting how many different traditions have said music is really the way of the entire universe.
Exactly.
And that's what I've realized, and that's the basis of where I'm headed with the research right now. And what I've realized is in music, there's all these different levels, right? You have the frequencies or notes.
That's right.
You've got the combinations of frequencies, which are the sounds. You've got the relationship between the frequencies, which are the intervals, and you have the musical flow. And in the body, a lot of people talk about working at the frequency level. Let's explode that cell or harmonize it into health. But really, the flow, smooth flow of the music through the body is the whole deal. Right?
When you're talking about the smooth flow, are you talking about harmonic movements, progressions?
It's more, melodic movement.
Melodic movements.
Yeah, it's been melodic movement. Now, there could even be chord progression. Okay, let me give you an example here. So, about 3 months ago, my guide said, okay, Dave, we need to know the melody and rhythm of each of the 11 systems in the body.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, how are we going to find that? And they said, well, first we need to know the musical interval relationship of the heart, brain, and breath when you're in the zone, right? So I called up Rowan McCready, the head of research at HeartMath, and he sent me 15 readouts, and we've analyzed them. We have to average out the heart rate because the heart rate goes up and down. But when we average it out, we're finding that the heart, brain, and breath are exact octaves. They're either double or quadruple.
The heart, brain, okay.
Yeah, they're all, which we know they're going to be in sync when you're in the zone, when you're running love or at peace, right? So that way we can find the actual rhythm of all the systems, right? Because all the 11 systems are going to be in direct relationship to the heart, brain, and breath when you're in the zone, right? But then to find the melody, to find the melody, we have to find the notes.
That's right. First, you have to find. That's right.
And now we're working. We found this device called the Raman spectroscopy that will find the harmonic content of a cell in real time, which means all frequencies. So we can measure any cell and see what its note is. So now we have the notes within each of the 11 systems, and we can figure out the rhythm. So we can play that melody of flow, because The definition of health is smooth flow without blockages through any system in the body, whether that's the 11 systems, the meridians, or even the spheroids, right?
The spheroid,
it's the
yes.
energy flow between them,
The
right?
energy
And through
centers,
them,
yes, yes,
right?
yes,
Right?
yes.
At any level, right? So it's really about then using, we could use needles with frequencies. We could use electrodes with microcurrents. We can use infrared light, or now we're working with scalar waves as well to run this flow through the system. You could work at the frequency level of a cell, or the combinations of frequencies, and resonate it into its harmonic healthy state, right? So it will receive and transmit the flow, right? So you can work at the frequency level, or even the relationship of frequencies in the body. We're looking now at using artificial intelligence to map the musical interval relationship of every one of the 70 trillion cells to each other.
This is fascinating. This is
Right?
fascinating.
So now this is like the template of perfection in the body. Right? Oh,
Wow, wow, wow. This is so here's an example. There was an Israeli company, and I saw this, I think, about 3-4 years ago, where they found the specific frequency of this cancer cell, and they amplified it, right? Just like a glass when it shatters, right? You find the frequency, and then boom, and it explodes. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
They found the frequency of the cell and exploded.
Yeah, I show that video from that Israeli company in the class every semester.
Oh, this is fascinating.
But now this guy just came to me a few months ago and said, we are now selling focused MRI units to hospitals. And it's the unit of that video.
Huh.
So within 5 years, we're now talking about no more chemo.
This is fine.
No more radiation. And because you find the frequency of that cell, and especially if you find the entire harmonic content explode, there's zero side effects, and people go home in a half hour.
This is Kobe Wortman. Is that the guy?
Exactly.
From Insight Tech.
Yeah.
Yes,
Insight Tech.
yes.
Yeah. You do a search for operating room of the future, and you'll find it.
Exactly, and insighttech.com. I have a meeting, a virtual meeting. I won't go and meet him because this is fascinating.
Cool.
This is really so. What they did is, they exploded the cell of the cancer cell, and I saw the video where everything can be targeted. Now the question is, the problem that I don't know how they didn't face the problem yet. Western medicine or pharmaceutical will not be happy about that, just like bee venom. No, you don't think so?
Yeah. No. Here's the deal, and I learned this. I learned how not to die a couple of years ago. Because what you're saying is true. You've got to be careful around here, right? But here's the deal, and I learned this from doctors that are working at Kaiser. Kaiser Hospital has its own insurance company.
That's right.
So they are looking to reduce costs versus other hospitals that could care less. And so you sync with the hospitals and have them lead it. And that's what's happening, is they are actually taking on these new devices, right? And so now because they can't take down a whole hospital, right? So that's the whole plan. Is we are working with Kaiser Hospital directly. They're referring patients to us. I actually have quite a few doctors from Kaiser that are taking my whole sound healing certificate program. That's really the deal, is to really sync with them. So instead of trying to do it on your own. Right?
That's fascinating. So basically, I mean, just like, I believe, sound is the ultimate medicine for body and soul.
Right.
So we have here in this harmonious ball, Earth, we have cure for everything. We have cure for cancer. How about ALS? Do we have ALS work?
Yeah. Well, the deal is you can find what's wrong, which is what we've been talking about right now, and explode it, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to come back because you haven't gotten to the source.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Or you could actually resonate that cell into its healthy state instead of exploding it, right? So
But
you,
isn't the cell a growth because of some emotional, karmic,
yeah,
whatever you want
yeah,
to call it?
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it is
so
something
even
new.
if you resonate into its healthy state, you know, the people I've talked to, I just did a whole sound healing conference on sound and emotions, and quite a few psychics that were on the conference, they said that emotions are 100% cause of disease,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And that means we really need to start working at the emotional level, not just the emotional level. This is where we're headed. You go in the hospital and you got a physical problem, and they say, okay, well, let's go into the wing, emotion wing, and work with those stuck emotions that caused that in the first place. Let's release them. Express yourself, right? And actually get those emotions out and actually transform them into harmonious emotions so it doesn't come back. Okay, let's send you into the mental wing, which is all about brainwave entrainment and binaural beats, and actually get your brain back in sync with your vibration, which is what we were talking about earlier, right? And let's send you into the spiritual wing. Oh, you're not really spiritual? Oh, let's go into the garden and look at nature, right? And sync with nature. Okay. Okay. And what was your physical issue as well?
Oh, what physical issue?
Let's use sound and like just get rid of that, so you got a little more time to deal with all your emotional and mental issues, right?
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. I think it's. I mean, I don't think it seems, and it what the way that I perceive that really it's a training. It's not just a training of the mind, but it's training of society. It's training of people how to think, and where we are today, it is everything but teaching people how to think. It's
Yeah.
about teaching people
Yeah.
how to follow today,
You know,
and people don't think.
It's exactly the biggest problem on the planet. Okay, so I was a physics major at UC Berkeley, right?
Yeah, yes.
And the number one law of physics around resonance is a strong resonant vibration will overcome a weaker vibration and entrain the weaker into the stronger. It's the law of how anything changes in this universe,
Yes.
which is really profound. Well, the big problem is on this planet, the belief systems are so rampant as to we are not powerful. We cannot manifest anything. And
But
that
there are some individuals that can.
right, right.
But it's
But
not
that's
as a
the big
global-
problem is this law of physics. Not only that, but our brain is built so it creates ruts. You know, neural pathways that
That's
are
right.
really, really entrained, right? So it's really hard to change these patterns of society and the patterns in our brain, which requires complete thinking on your own, right? So it's not easy. We're up against this law of physics that's actually really tricky, but that's the whole deal. It's the biggest problem on the planet. People just go with what is, with group think. Right.
Wow. This is really. So when I work with sound, I use sound as a gateway to stir the pot, to begin with, to stir the pot, and then we go deeper. And one of the things that I work with, as I mentioned in the beginning, is manifestation. Manifestation for people to come out of their what I call emotional traffic jams, and everything that has to do in this universe, in this realm. Every physical thing has a spiritual reason and cause, and so I work on intention, and intention is the intention that we put behind the words, but that has also a frequency. We have to be in a certain frequency to be able to give the right fuel to the word, right? So for me, I use Tibetan bowls and other electronic tools to create certain frequencies. But somebody that is coming first to see you, or has something that they want to create or to remove, and they want to intentionalize, how would somebody go about finding the frequency of an intention, or creating a frequency that will derive its intention to the right place? Because it could be, if I'm already inhabiting that space, I can emit it outside, right, from inside to the outside. But if I'm not, then I want to use something from the outside to cultivate something on the inside.
Right,
so
right.
how would I go, or how would somebody go to create that space of pure intention, that the intention is
It's
really
really the same as I started with. It's really all about consistency of intention. When we do a class here where we have our students hold an intention and tone it for 2 hours, right? And we practice holding it consistently with zero distraction, with 100% focus, right? When you hold something perfectly still of an intention with 100% focus, it's really powerful,
It
right?
is.
Now you can have an intention that's one frequency, love, or you could have multiple frequencies, love, wisdom, or you could have a flowing intention coming from source down through your crown, out your heart, and from earth up through your feet, out your heart. So it's a flow, right?
That's right.
So you could have intentions that are at all different levels of the hierarchy of vibration, which is frequencies, combinations, and flow. So, but it's consistency, because you could have an intention of love and you could go, love, right? And it's not the same energy as
Now, are you doing this on your note? Are you doing this on your home note, or are you so I have a client, right? So I have clients coming in. I work with their frequency, not with my frequency. There we go.
Yeah. The main voice note, the best one, is the key that you sing in, and it's the vowel, the note that's the easiest to sing, that you can sing the longest. It takes the least amount of energy. So if I go ooh, that's a little work there, or ooh, that's a little work. But if I just open my mouth and go, that takes no work. That's the key that I sing in when I speak. So that's the best one for the voice. And it's even good to get a crystal ball in that key, because then you can tone with it and everything. And the one you did earlier, when you said, oh, I just like to go, ooh, I like to, you went to the home note of the key of your voice then.
Yes,
Because you were totally relaxed. You weren't going, ooh, no, you were
exactly.
Right.
It's like even this is worked. I actually could feel that. I could feel the tension. I could feel the tension.
Yeah. And this is very good. It's really easy to find for people. You can just breathe out and just go, and make a sound. Or you can go up and down and try different notes. Ooh, 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 and you'll find it, right? The one that's just easy, right? And that's your voice, which is different than your soul note. Now, when you go to your soul note, it can be hard or easy for your voice, depends on what it is in comparison to your voice note, right? But that one I often go to silently. It's like, what I've learned is peace is a frequency humming consistently. And peace is the whole deal. Physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's a portal to other dimensions. It's really the definition of health. And that is a stable vibration, right? Flowing.
Yes,
Slowly.
that's fascinating. So our voice. So now let's go to analysis for healing. So our voice is basically a representation of everything that we are,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
There's all these different companies that are doing voice analysis, and the basis is that all the harmonics and all the notes that you put out with your voice uh, carry the divine template of perfection that you are, and every way that you and parents and society have screwed it up since then. Right, right. So you can, we have a voice analysis program. You talk into it
Yes.
and it shows you precisely where there's a problem with any organ or learning disabilities or
So now, so
emotional
now,
issues.
let's talk about this. So when I go through trauma, I go through a traumatic
Mm,
experience.
mm,
It is reflected in the voice, although I may not hear it in my ear, in my
that's
auditory
right.
systems, right?
That's right.
But it is reflected in the voice. Like I can talk to you now, da 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 da. But within that are embedded the traumatic experience that I had forever, right? It's not,
Mm.
or does it go away? So I know when I take a voice stamp or a voice recording,
Voice print.
a voice print. Sorry, yeah, it was
Hmm.
for a second went away. It is for the many times it is a representation of what's going on now, but there are traumatic experiences that are there deeper and are more subtle that don't just disappear with every Monday or Tuesday that I take a voice sampling, that
Right.
are
They get
there.
embedded in your muscles and in your nerves and your whole system, right? And so then that system uh, is what makes your voice because all the muscles and nerves in your body go straight to the vocal cords, right? And to the vagus nerve as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's some traumas that, it's like you just let them go. Some people let them go, right? And
Yeah, but
there's
the question is, does it go? You say let them go. You did okay. We did therapy. We talked about it. We did plant medicine journeys. With all the whatever you want, all the whole 9 yards. All right,
right, right, right,
right.
right.
Okay, so I work on it. I work on it emotionally, and so you're telling me that if there was a dip in the sound bar, let's say the graph, the sound graph of my voice, now that sound graph is clear again and clean.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It could still be. I mean, maybe it's still stored at a cellular level. I mean, who knows any of
yes,
this for
that's right.
sure, right?
That's right.
But yeah, but the number one thing is if it's still repeating in your system, if you're still thinking about it, if you're still thinking ah,
Or I
instead of
react when I'm triggered or something.
right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's really a instead of a oh when you think
Yes,
of it,
yes, yes, yes. When
right?
I talk about it, or when I'm being, it's like when somebody stopped drinking and they said, I'm sober for 20 years. Oh, really? Where did you live? In the Sahara Desert. All right, come to Vegas for one day. Come to Vegas for one day, then we'll see. you know,
Right, right. Still in there. Right,
so, so,
right.
so it
Yeah, no,
is.
it's really quite different. It's like, or you totally let it go. And then you come across somebody that's got the same issue and you think, whoa, I used to carry that one, right? It's
Hmm.
totally gone now. There's no triggers anymore.
That's right. There is
And
no trigger when there's no triggers. Yeah,
right,
that's.
right.
I guess that's a good
No hooks.
indication when we don't get triggered.
Exactly.
I have a concept I teach and I talk about. It's called trigger time, true time. It's from the moment we get triggered until the moment we realize we got triggered, which
Uh-huh.
is the true time. All that period of time is a movie that is not ours,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
we're
Cool.
operating in almost an alternate universe. And when we
Right. A
realize that we got,
pattern.
yeah, a pattern. And when we realize that we got triggered, then there is a choice. So also the
Nice.
choice has a
Nice.
frequency.
Nice. The number one thing that needs to be learned on this planet is compassion,
Amen. Amen. Absolutely.
right? I mean,
Kindness
people
and
know it's
compassion.
cool, but most people don't know how to do it. I put together a Cirque du Soleil style play called Compassion, right? So I studied it in detail and learned a lot from the Dalai Lama, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's the number one thing that I do is I think, what brought them to do what they're doing?
Huh.
And it's entrainment into the craziness of our society for tens of thousands of years. Selfishness, greed. Also, a lot of people are just stressed out from not sleeping, not eating, from daily life, right? And then you think, okay, it's not their fault. That's the number one. But the
Mm.
other one that is trickier is to realize that we are all one.
Amen. Exactly.
And we know that mentally, but to really feel it inside, the way the Dalai Lama says to do it, he says, realize that that person doesn't want suffering and wants to be happy, just like you.
Hmm.
You're the exact same in that way.
Amen. I mean, there is the famous saying also in Judaism, but everybody knows it, in love thy neighbor as you love yourself, right? ואהבת לרעך כמוך. Now, there is the English translation is, that's why I don't, English is, it's not the correct translation. Because it says, first of all, the focus is you.
Uh-huh.
Love your neighbor like yourself. But it doesn't say love your neighbor. It says ואהבת את, love אהבת ל, love to your neighbor like you love to yourself. Because in essence, it's very difficult to love somebody else in the same way that I love myself, and many people have issues about how you love yourself. But it is wish and want for that person all the good that you want for yourself.
Right. Cool.
Is wishing for that person to have all the good that you want for yourself. And that is the love that I express to somebody, because I want you to feel healthy. I want you to be good. I want you to prosper. I want you to grow. I want you to shine your light, to bring it to the world, just like I want it for myself. So when I want this for somebody else, I'm not even going into the deep emotional issues that I have with love and love myself. I'm dealing with really the intention that I want the good for you.
Right.
And so that is the right translation from the Hebrew, ואהבת לרעך
I love it.
כמוך.
When
Yeah.
I do a whole class on sound of love.
Ah.
And I differentiate between sending love, which some people have said is like ego. Although,
Really? How
yeah,
so?
I don't, but how can love be wrong, right? Right. If I go, "Wee-oo," I mean, it's beautiful, right? But the other way is
Yeah.
to be love. You are love. Every cell in your being is love. And just be love and resonate that energy, which is kind of what you're saying, of being focused on your energy instead of their energy.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Just be love, and when you and even be love and expand your field into the whole universe. Right?
Yes.
And now you're resonating that energy.
This is wonderful. For you,
Compassion is so deep. I have to tell you, there's a show when I was working on this play. There was a show on NPR
Yeah.
that was about this guy, one guy from Israel and one from Palestine, and both of them had had their entire families killed, their wife and all their kids. And they got together and were going to schools throughout Israel and Palestine and saying, if anybody has reason for revenge and anger, it is us. Our families are gone. And they said, but we realize that forgiveness and compassion is the only answer, or there's going to be many more
That's right.
suffering like us.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I'm like, holy moly. I mean, their families are killed, and
This
they're
is the-
still going,
Absolutely. I have the chills all over you. You're talking about this and we're
Oh my
talking
God.
about this.
I
This
mean,
is
Jesus
amazing.
never had it that bad, right? I mean, the Dalai Lama almost had it that bad, right? I mean, because he's had like thousands of his people killed, but still running compassion. I mean, that's like,
Absolutely.
oh my God. And
You know
it's a,
the, you
it's
know
a,
the, yeah, go ahead.
it's a generally a deep low frequency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's sound is higher consciousness is not about a higher frequency always. Compassion is like you don't normally go wee for compassion. You
No,
go
no, I don't think it's a higher frequency as far as the pitch. It's a higher frequency as far as the intention. The higher you are,
cool,
because the
cool,
lowest one
cool.
is shame. You know,
Yeah,
the lowest one is shame. So the higher, meaning not by numbers, but by
yeah, not
intention or by
frequency.
being. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
For you who are joining, I'm here with wonderful David Gibson. He's a leading scholar and researcher and the founder and director of the Globe Sound Healing Institute in San Francisco, Bay Area. He's offering individual classes, approved certificate for sound healing. He wrote several books, and some of them I have here, and we can talk about this. You have some slides I want to show, but this is the complete guide to sound healing. Is wonderful. I've been going through this like there's no tomorrow. And the art of mixing as a sound engineer originally, and this is wonderful because I think we talked last time about using logic and different programs to create the frequencies that we're looking for, and the art of producing. So these are and all the website and information is obviously listed here, and you can reach out to David. And now I want to before we talk about the Vibe Academy, I want to talk about binaural beats.
Mm-hmm.
And binaural beats I've found for me, before I've dived into or delved or dived into the technical and the wording and the books and stuff like that. So if I want to produce, we hear between 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, right? That's our auditory system, our human system. But if I want to get to a 4 hertz, to like a theta state, right? Between 4 to 9, let's say, I can't hear it with my auditory systems.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is I would put 205 here. I would put 201 here. And what I found is that the brain creates the interval automatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or
The
you can
4
put it in the
hertz.
speakers and it will actually create it when the two sounds, the air will actually create it by the two frequencies canceling each other out. And it
Yes.
actually creates a flutter. Whoa, 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 whoa,
That's
whoa,
right. But
whoa,
what I
whoa.
do is with sound bowls, I actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I play two different sound bowls with frequencies that are close relatively to one another, I could hear that.
Yeah, the Tibetan bowls actually do it within one bowl.
That's
The
right,
top
because
of the bowl has one frequency, and the
that's right.
bottom has another frequency
That's
because
right.
of the curve.
That's
And
right.
and so they commonly have rhythms in it. They
That's
do
right.
that brainwave entrainment. Yeah, but when you actually put one in the left ear and one in the right ear, which could be two bowls close, or tuning forks, or headphones, then the two frequencies don't meet and cancel each other out. So in order to keep reality consistent, your brain actually makes up that third flutter.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
In order to do it, it has to synchronize the left and right brain, which is completely different than delta, theta, alpha, or beta that we normally get with the rhythms. Right? So you're getting a second benefit of left and right brain synchronization besides the actual delta. Yeah, so
This is
but
fascinating.
here's the main deal, and this is what
Yes.
we were talking about earlier. When you tune those binaural beats to your soul note that we mentioned, or the rhythm of where you're at peace,
Mm-hmm.
it's way better. It's way more effective. So that's what we do is we'll actually play each of the 12 notes and rhythms and to find yours, and then give you binaural beats in delta for sleep, theta for creativity and relaxation, alpha, which is na 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 for presence and learning, and really good for sports preparation, and then beta for thinking and overcoming ADD,
Yeah,
and then gamma for just blissing out. Right.
this is fascinating. I want to talk with you about the Vibe Academy. I mean, we were talking, and then I want to talk to you about dementia because This is
Oh my.
big thing. Or maybe we should start with dementia first
Oh, yeah.
before we
Well,
go to the
let me
Vibe
mention one
Academy.
thing. So we've got the Medical Sound Association now. If you go to medicalsoundassociation.com, we've got over 600 doctors and sound therapists that have been working together for the last 2 years to create treatment plans for a full range of issues, detailed treatment plans for
Fascinating.
anxiety and depression and PTSD and autism, cancer, anger, full range, including dementia. But here's what's really amazing and timely. Last week, I just met with the fourth time with the largest dementia company in Northern California. We had a meeting with the entire staff of 20 people in Napa,
Hmm.
and they are now completely, it's a done deal. It's a
Wow.
sealed deal. They're
Oh.
taking on our entire protocol, which is 10 different aspects of sound, including the binaural beats,
Hmm.
right? Including also using a full range of frequencies, and music. I mean, there's a full spectrum of what we're doing. And they are part of a larger umbrella group. So now it's going to be in dementia companies through the entire U.S.
Oh.
within 3 to 4 years.
This is fascinating. This is fascinating. And
It's
how many people?
so, and not only this is what's so cool about it. While we're doing the sound with the staff, we realize it's going to help the staff as
Absolutely.
much as the patients, because
Absolutely.
working in a dementia ward is not easy. I mean, they were talking about all the bizarre things that go on, right?
Wow.
It's like really stressful for them. So it's like it's really starting to happen where we're getting sound into the medical side of the field now.
This is fascinating. This is really bringing, cohesing, putting together everything. Everything is
Yeah.
coming together. What was supposed to be in the beginning, it's supposed to work together. This whole, the esoteric and science, everything together.
There's one thing I want to share with you that we're also doing with autism, with the dementia,
Yeah.
and that is teaching them to be able to make sound freely, right? So many people are scared to death to express themselves.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
really a blockage.
Hmm.
It's an emotional blockage. There's no flow.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's
As
right.
babies, we had it down. We were professional sound healers. Everybody, as babies, if you had anything going on, you went right, and let it out. And
Yeah,
around,
yeah, 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 for
and
sure.
then
When
around,
somebody asks what's our natural state, to be sad or happy? Say, look at babies, look at kids,
right, right.
natural
And then
state.
around 1 or 2, it's like shh. And then we get into school, and it's like no more sound.
Exactly.
Nope, nope. Don't you dare make a sound, right? And then you get to work, and it's like, of course you can't make sound except around here, right? And we lose that God-given ability to express ourselves. So what we're doing with the dementia patients, especially in the early stages,
Hmm.
is actually teaching them how to actually express themselves with sound. How are you feeling? Right? Now you have to start with call and response to get them comfortable because they're scared too,
Mm.
right? Okay, do this sound, right? Wah! And do this sound, right? And they get comfortable doing it, and then they can start expressing how they feel. And then in later stages, they no longer have to use words.
Mm.
They can go. It's so funny. There's one of the workers there. She said, "Oh yeah, George, he mumbles all the time." And last week, I mumbled back to him, and we had a great conversation.
This is great.
Right? Right? So that's really cool. And then we're doing the exact same with autism. When you can actually, even if they don't know how to make sound, you can just mirror their expressions with sound. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Right? And then there's a connection, right?
That's right.
We're doing that with the babies as well.
This is fascinating. This is this is really. I've been since I started consciously working with sound was about 10 years ago. 9 years ago, and I've seen all how things have progressed and are progressing in different areas, different fields. I remember the first time in 2011, I was hearing an NPR for the first time talking about sound, and as far as a healing modality,
Uh-huh.
because or yoga, because
Or
it wasn't part.
mindfulness.
Yeah, mindfulness. That's right. It wasn't part of the mainstream, quote unquote, and
Hmm.
now it is. Um, let's talk about the Vibe Academy. This is for children. Please, this is great. You have your music, the music that you created playing in Mass General. I used to live near Mass General all the time. I used to
Uh-huh.
be there. I
Uh-huh.
used to work with patients there.
Uh-huh.
Mass General, and you have UC. Was it Berkeley?
Yeah, no, UC Med Center in San Francisco.
UC Med Center, and you
Yeah,
have the
they're
music.
using music during surgery,
This
before
is
and after, but
fascinating.
also during surgery.
So let's talk about the Vibe Academy and how you're using it for children, and how can parents that are listening now really can either reach out to you or reach out to me for you, or any of that. How do you work with children? This is fascinating.
Okay, so about 5 years ago, we got a $100,000 grant to take our entire curriculum with 24 instructors into two Montessori schools. And over
Ah,
3 years, with all our instructors, we created 2,500 exercises for kids from 3 months, progressively, all the way up to 18 years,
wow.
based on the books on brain development for kids at different age groups, right? And and now we've got these uh, exercises implemented in many schools around the world, and now we're doing classes for 3 to 6 year olds online. We just finished a 8 week series a few weeks ago, and it's just precious,
Oh,
right?
wow.
I mean, at first it was like, okay, you guys, can you do this sound? Wah! And I'm like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And they're like, wah! Right? And within 2 weeks, it's like they're doing gibberish back and forth to each other, blah, 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 right? And the other one's like, blah, 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 right? With no fear at all, right? And then this one, that's a cute one, little Krissa. I said, anybody want to do a sound? And she says, can we do the sound of love?
Oh
Like,
man.
I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh
oh
man.
yeah. And she goes, ooh. It was so cool too because um, last week her mom is taking my online classes in the sound healing program for adults, right? And
Hmm.
Krissa was sitting in, and I said, Krissa, cool. Can you lead a sound of love for the adults? Well, the adults hadn't done the sound. We hadn't had that class yet. And they're like a little scared to do it, right? And Chris is like, oh, yeah. And she goes, ooh, and leads everybody with the sound of a 3 year old, right? It was so sweet, right? So
So
we're starting.
if we correlate that sound, let's say somebody doesn't know, somebody's listening to our program now and they have no clue and they want to find it on the piano, right? For example, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Would they take what you did now, find it, and that is the note for them on the piano?
No, that's my note, the
That's
key
your
of my
note.
voice.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So now,
everybody's got it.
no,
Not
no, no.
now. There's two. Go ahead.
So no, I got it. So they find what they're comfortable with, and they can find it the note on the piano. So when you said that
Yeah, they
Krissa, the
can also
kid,
do it.
so when you said Krissa did the note of love, did she do her note, or did she do the note that you showed her?
Yeah, she did her note. So it's the energy. It's all about the energy. The
Yes.
note's not important, right? Because people commonly go to a note that's comfortable for them when they do love, right? So it's really the energy. Now there's another. While we're talking about this, and we go back to the kids, there's another note of love that is really really wonderful, even more important than the voice note that we mentioned before. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love my kitty, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you just tune into love, the energy of love, and feel it, and then listen in your head for that energy of love in your heart, go up and down silently until you find a frequency or a note. Just play with it. You can't get it wrong. and find a note that matches that feeling of love. And then you make it out loud. Nice. Now that note was not based on your physiology of your voice.
No. No.
That was based on the energy only.
Yes, yes, yes. I could feel that.
So that
I could
one's
feel that.
really cool, right?
I could feel that. Yeah.
Really
that was
cool.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Fascinating.
we're starting up another round on June 27th for the 3 to 6 year olds. If anybody wants to join, they can go to soundeducationassociation.com and
I have the link down here. Yep.
Or vibeacademy.live. Vibeacademy.live. And now what we've done is we've got over 100 administrators and teachers that are helping develop this presentation to bring this into private and public schools around the world. So we're getting funding to be able to go into, with the lobbying group, into governments around the world with this, because if there's anything that's going to change the planet, this is major.
This is it.
I mean,
it. Yeah.
I've just imagined a kid going through the entire curriculum from 3 months all the way up to 18 years. That kid is going to be completely in their body, able to express himself. Krissa will never, ever worry about expressing herself the rest of her life.
Now, is that also because she's a child and she doesn't have much baggage, so to speak, so it's easier to maintain that energy and frequency, right?
It's right. Yeah. At that age, it gets embedded, right? Yes. And it's like, oh yeah, I remember. It's like, you know, you're saying I'm a woman, I can't like talk, right? Oh no, blah, 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 right? It's incredible, right? Also, the other thing we're looking at is we actually teach math based on the actual flows within nature, including river flows, including the golden mean, including all of the Fibonacci patterns that are within nature. So the kids are learning math based on something that's real within them.
This is fascinating. This is wonderful. This is really wonderful.
I don't have a clue why I learned the math that I learned in high school.
That's right. That's right. Wow, what's the purpose of that?
Yeah, well, right. I mean, if I was an astrophysicist, maybe, right?
Totally. You know, you're talking about, and this is really true. Sound is the healing of the future past, so to speak. Yeah. Right. So, and we talked about this when I was up there in Sausalito, and I have to bring it up. The singing bridge. I have to bring it up here. You know, the singing bridge.
The Golden Gate Bridge.
The beginning.
For people don't know, the Golden Gate Bridge, and they put in the new fences on both sides that just happen to make this sound.
Well, here's the thing. I dug a little deeper. Okay? And first of all, they replaced everything before the Coronic era panic started, right? Talking about changing consciousness of people and changing the way that people relate to themselves. So they changed the railings of the side of the bridge, and it creates, the way that they created it. It creates in high winds. It creates a frequency that goes like 3 miles. You hear it all the way.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Here at my house.
Right. And now it can go for a long time. It can go for a short period of time. And what I also found, as I was standing there and hearing the first note, I heard a second note that came from the bridge. And that second note, the interval was a triton.
Oh, boy.
Now, triton is the worst.
Stir things up. Let's get people
Absolutely.
moving.
Now, the first thing that I thought of, you know, the way that I think and the way that I look at it, I said, well, you know, if they were smart, if they want to dupe people like they're doing and like they've been doing, and to cause people to follow like a herd and to create separation and isolation, somebody will start from even before the actions of what's on the ground. Let's start consciously. Let's start with sound, because we know that sound can mess you up or can build you up. And I asked, and you didn't know at that time, but I wanted to know if there was a sound specialist in the committee that decided on changing the rails, and there was.
You're kidding. You're
No, I'm
kidding. They
serious.
actually knew
They
what they're.
actually, because that's the first
That's
thing
hard to believe. I bet that sound specialist knew nothing.
well, I mean, but what if, but if somebody's trying to create a propaganda of something, and creating this kind of sound, because they said, yeah, we knew that this is going to happen. We
Yeah,
knew
but I
that this
bet
is.
they didn't know. They didn't think anything about tuning it or what
Well,
it
there
would
was a
create.
sound specialist on the board, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting. I want to reach out to that sound specialist. I couldn't trace that person.
This is what I think they should do. I was just talking with someone about this last week. I think we should actually put a proposal to actually have speakers on that railing that are actually playing toning at different octaves in tune with what the bridge is already doing. So now as you walk across, it's not only going, ooh, it's going, you get this total healing as you walk across.
Well, first of all, I don't know if the speakers will remain there after a day or two. Somebody can just lift them up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you have really a problem. But creating that triton, I mean, triton is really is the most dissonance interval in the scale, and it
Yeah, yeah.
creates it can mess up with your.
It creates movement, though. Dissonance. I mean, think
Yeah,
of
but movement
dissonance.
to what? Movement is like a
Yeah,
fear
yeah,
movement. This is the sound. The triton is the sound of the European ambulances. Da, da, da,
yeah,
da, da.
yeah, yeah.
But anyway, so back to the kids, back to children. Somebody who is watching you today, parents that are having kids with learning disabilities, with ADD, ADHD, all these things, all they can, and anxiety. I mean, look at kids that were born into this coronic era. One thing, born into isolation, kids, toddlers that have gone through this period of 2.5 years with fear and cannot connect to other kids. They're developing some serious long-term issues, especially of relationships to one another. Can that be? How can somebody work with sound to bring to equilibrium again?
We've got 500 exercises for each age group already on the website. You could actually download a
And that's for
sound
free.
some for free.
Some for free at least. I'll put the link here.
They're not much though. It's a
Yeah.
nonprofit.
Yeah.
But there's two really simple things you could do: consistent vowels and consistent rhythms for the kids. And these are both proven to help the brain stabilize into homeostasis and peace, right? The note, even if you do any note with the vowels, ooh, any vowel, right? You can actually go up and down and notice what notes seem to be the most comfortable for the kid or even the baby. Do the exact same thing for the rhythm. Go ba 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 ba, and watch the movement. Watch the rocking of the baby and make the rhythm be in tune with their rhythm, right? So you're watching them whenever you do any vowel or any consonants. Ta, ba, ka. It's really good to open the mouth and show them those vowels. Ooh, oh, ah, ooh. And then as they get older, what we're doing is really cool. Body percussion. Ba, da, ba, da, ba, ta, ta, da, ba, ta, ka, da, ba, ka, da, da, ba, ka, da, da, right? Which is really good.
Fascinating.
And then we're actually synchronizing the different parts of the body. So if you do 5 spots on the body, ba, ba, ka, da, ba, ka, ba, right? Then we say, look, here's a flower with 5 petals also. And look how that is within the Fibonacci. Isn't it really interesting that flowers commonly just do 3, 5, and 8 petals? That's amazing. And look how that you can do that in your body, and now we're connecting. And so there's so much
So
you can
much.
do
Wow.
just by doing consistent, stable tones and rhythms.
This is fascinating. This is fascinating. David, you have, let's talk about your upcoming workshop and the part of the certification that starts actually on the 7th.
Yeah.
On the
Yeah,
7th
if you
of
could
June.
make it up for June 7th to the 17th, we have our summer intensive, which is 10 to 9:30 every day. We haven't killed anybody yet. We've been doing it for 20 years. Right?
You'll be
It's
reviving. You'll be
Yeah, right.
revived.
Oh my God, you're totally transformed by the end of the program. That's half of our program, which we do online as well. And then we have our full 3.5 month program that starts again in September. And we do the whole certificate online. We also do recording classes online as well.
Yeah, so I want to talk also to mention that I mean you come from the audio engineering world, and you also work with people that want to create their own tones and their own frequencies with Logic, Performer, whatever you're using, Pro Tools,
Any program they have, actually.
any program, because and everything is in the computer already, so it's not you
Uh-huh.
don't need to get the hardware modules and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting because we're teaching how to do recording that affects people much deeper,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Physically
yes,
and
yes.
mentally. And we teach
Yeah.
how to do binaural beats. We teach how to, think of frequencies based on chakras. I mean, it's a full spectrum
Yeah,
on
this is
recording, mixing, and producing.
This is wonderful. And as I call it, the cherry on top of the cake are your sound beds,
Oh yeah,
the
this
sound
is
spas, the sound
so
beds.
yeah, we make if you go to soundloungecenter.com, we have a full range of sound tables, which are massage tables with speakers in them, sound lounges. We have pillows you can hug that vibrate. We have dolphins you can hug. We have a belt you can put on, which, by the way, the Dementia Company is using all of these now.
Oh,
And
they are
we,
using. I have
yeah,
the belt. I have the belt. Is a company called Woody or something. I don't remember, but there's a belt with a round that you put around and you can
oh yeah,
feel.
yeah, similar,
Yeah,
but ours,
similar to that.
yeah, we got very specific frequencies for pain. If you got any pain, it'll be gone. It's profoundly effective, and we've also got a guy in Colorado that's working with first responders. If they have a crisis, which means about to commit suicide,
Mm.
he drives out with the sound lounge and puts them on the sound lounge. He's saved over 300 lives in the last 2 years.
Oh, fascinating. What's his name?
Ed Rupert.
Ed
If you do
Rupert.
search, he's got a whole company where he does
Wow, wonderful.
with doctors and therapists, and he uses our equipment big time.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. So the children work is fascinating. I mean, everything you do is really fascinating. It's we can talk for hours. This has been such an enlightening. Everybody who is watching, David Gibson, founder and researcher of the Globe Sound Institute in San Francisco Bay Area. All the information is here. If you have any other questions, please send them to me or send them directly to David, and
Soundhealingcenter.com gets
Sound
you
Healing
to
Center.
all the different websites we have.
Exactly. There is a link there to everything else. That's right. Soundhealingcenter.com. All the information is listed down here. David, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Oh boy, you know
It's
when
like an
people,
open-ended question.
yeah, no, this is good. Whenever anybody is stressed out or in anxiety or fear or even upset, there's one really simple thing you can do, and that is send love to everybody that is in that state.
Mm.
So, you want to do it?
Yes.
Okay, okay. We're
Yes.
going to send love to everybody on the planet that's
Oh
suffering with the
man.
sound. Now remember, you can't do it wrong. This is the best thing about sound healing. You can't be off pitch. You can't do the sound of love wrong. It's always perfect, right?
So
Okay,
everybody,
so
listen, join us.
yeah.
Close your eyes and let's send love.
And what it does is it
Mm.
overcomes your own anxiety, fear, or
Mm.
upset and gets you back to peace and stillness where you are you.
Mm. Amen. Wow. David, thank you so much for your time. It's been such a blessing. Thank you, everybody who is watching. Abracadabra, create what you speak. By the way, abracadabra is in Aramaic. It means literally, I create as I speak. I'm iLan Azoulai, David Gibson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hello and welcome to Abracadabra, create what you speak. I'm iLan Azoulai. This is an empowerment program with guests from all over the world who will share their light and their gifts of art, knowledge and wisdom to inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Together, through the healing magic of sound and the power of words, we will look at everything from a spiritual lens.